All right. Woo. Look. I got that wow. Who wants some hands up right now? We got that. Turn it up loud. I know you're wondering how. I got that wow. Here I go, coming. I can't ever stop. I'm a tour de force running. Get me to the top. I don't need a.
Hello, my darling friends.
Hello, ladies.
Welcome to yet another episode of Three Cocktails In with Stacey, the delegate from Iowa, Kitty, the delegate from the southwest suburbs, and me from the heart of the city, Amy. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Doing great. The week is off to a good start.
Yes, it is Thursday night for me.
Yay.
Rocking hard. Only because it's not really Thursday night, but my weird schedule. So super excited about our discussion that we're going to have tonight. We're doing a friendship check-in.
Yes. Yep.
Now, we've been kind of embarked on this whole year project, 2025, Make a New Friend.
Mm-hmm.
So we have identified what kind of friends we're looking for. Mm-hmm. We have gotten ourselves out into the world and done things with our lights on little sign saying, "Hey, I'm here. How are you?" Last month, we talked about joining some different groups, maybe. That's a little harder. How has that gone? What have you guys what's been your experience?
Joining groups. So I have not joined any specific groups.
Me neither.
I haven't either. I think this goes to how hard it can be, for people to find people, find new people. This last month just flew by and really didn't have, I don't want to say didn't have time. You always have time to do something you want to do, but maybe less opportunity. There wasn't much going on that, if that makes sense, just not something going on that I could join in on, let's say.
Yeah.
Well,
I agree with that.
Joining groups can mean, okay, so you might be picking up a new hobby, or the group might, then that might mean once a month you go and meet.
Yeah.
So depending on what it is, it can mean a time commitment. And like Stacey said, if it's something that you really want to do, then you make time for it. But I think that one of the things, and I know we're going to talk about this, but one of the things that makes joining groups and meeting people a little bit easier is that we can leverage the technology that we have. One of the things that we do, those of us who are in like social selling businesses, as we're always trying to crack the nut on meeting new people digitally, one of the things that they say, that's not a good analogy, but one of the things that they say is join groups online, because then in that entity, you're going to find people with commonalities. And so I think that's probably a more accessible solution for us, because obviously the three of us didn't go to the community center or wherever and find a group to join.
So that was the recommendation for this month, to leverage apps, digital apps, and social media. And my first thought when I was preparing for this month was, as you all know, I've had enough of digital apps that are trying to set me up with somebody. Match.com. So my first thought was, well, yeah, I know Bumble has part of their business model is to find friends. You're new to a city, you just want to meet some people to be friends with. There are different groups that you can go do. That seems really intimidating. But as we were talking about this, prepping for tonight, Kitty says, well, like she just talked about, her Facebook group. And I worked for a company that had a large Facebook group. And I think a lot of us don't automatically assume that's a source of friends.
Mhm.
We look at it as they're just trying to sell me something. When the reality is you are in a place with people who like the same things you do,
Mhm.
whatever that is. Quilting, jewelry. Kitty, I've watched yours. Stacey, I know you're on there too. We've all watched, I worked for GE Designs and Gudrun's got a group on there. Really good people, leaders, do a great job of encouraging conversations.
Mhm.
And I've noticed not only are you making friends with people, Kitty, but people in your group are making friends with each other.
Yeah.
And they really do. They come on with regularity. They
Mhm.
see each other. I've seen people post, well, where's Susan?
Mhm.
Yeah, and somebody else will pipe up and say, well, Susan's got this going on.
Yeah.
And one would assume your next door neighbors. No, these people don't even live in the same city.
Right.
It's a great
Yeah.
source of, maybe a daily connection, maybe a weekly connection.
Mhm. Yeah. It's something that was very surprising to me. And then I was like, well, why? Why am I surprised about this? So yeah, and every time I get a message from someone, I am realizing that this is more than just they're a customer of mine. We have become friends, and my life is better because I know them, and because we now
Yes.
have a friendship.
And this is a really easy one. This is a very easy opportunity to put yourself out there if you're not in the practice of it.
Yeah.
Or if you're in a rural area or transportation is an issue or your time is short, you can do this from the comfort of your couch.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
you
would.
don't have to buy.
Right.
No.
Mhm.
Does anyone ever ask where everybody's from, Kitty, in your show?
Yeah.
That might be something you could do one of these times. Like, who's
Yeah.
from so or who's local in Minneapolis, or who,
Mhm.
and
And
match people up. That would be interesting.
yeah. So, and every once in a while I do it. If I'm trying to generate a lot of comments, I'll do it. But every once in a while, somebody else will do it. One of the other viewers will do it, and then I just sit back and watch. And when somebody says, "I'm from Roanoke, Virginia," or "I'm from Virginia," and then somebody says, "Oh, where?" And then now in the comments, they're sitting there talking, and then I realize later that they've become friends, and
Yeah.
and they have communication on their own. But yes, that is, people love to, like, if I'm from Minnesota, I'm from Minnesota. Like, it's a
Yeah.
big freaking state. We have one thing in common. That's all it takes.
Yeah. So you brought up, I belong to a group of knitters and crocheters, and it's an online community called Ravelry.com. I haven't been on it for a long time because, my hobbies jump around too, but work and everything. But I have made friends, and I follow them on Facebook. We comment on each other's things. They are a great source for, hey, I'm going to be in Boston. I'm going to be in Roanoke, Virginia. Where do I need to go? And people meet each other. And like 3 or 4 people will say, well, I'm only 45 minutes away. And somebody else will go, well, I'm a half an hour away. Let's all meet at this coffee shop at this time, and we'll get a table and we'll all bring our knitting so we know who each other. I mean, you've probably seen pictures by then.
Mm-hmm.
But what a great, easy thing to do.
Yeah.
It
Really
just
is.
takes one person to start it and make the comment and see who wants to meet and get together. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And speaking of, that's a great segue. So I was thinking of how do we meet people in the summer? For those of us in the Midwest, the upper Midwest, this is the time. We are in the prime outdoor, everybody's happy, everybody's walking, dogs, kids, grandkids, walking around the neighborhood. So I brainstormed a list of different ways that we can be out and about with similar people.
Okay.
So you guys let me know what you think. Good idea, bad idea. I've done it. I want to do this. So my first thought was look at that community education book that comes out in the mail, because now's the prime time for lessons,
Mhm.
signing up for lessons, golf lessons, pickleball lessons, tennis. The cool thing about these opportunities are people are often grouped by skill. So maybe you've never played pickleball before and all your neighbors want you to go play, but they all play all the time. For me, that's a problem. I don't want to go out there and be playing against 3 people who know what they're doing and I suck.
Mhm.
That's my own issue. I'm working on that, just as an aside. But if you sign up for lessons, you're going to be put with people of like skill. That's a great bonding experience. Everybody's struggling with the same challenges.
Yeah.
They're multi-age, which is also great. There's no expectation of having to be friends, but you're probably going to see them 6 times over maybe 6 weeks.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah, that's a good idea. And a lot of times too, those community education program things are very reasonably priced,
Yes.
and they're not big chunks of time, right? It's like,
Usually an hour.
yeah, but like it's like a 6-week course or something like that.
Yes.
So it's once a week for 6 weeks, and then you're done. And
Yeah.
hopefully by then you've met 1 or 2 people, and yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Well, they often culminate in playing a round of golf somewhere,
Mhm.
or maybe taking you to a different driving range. I know, like when you think of golf, that it can sometimes be intimidating. I don't know my way around this golf course. I don't know these people, but to go with somebody else or your group, field trip, whatever you want to do, what a great opportunity to learn something new, to meet somebody new, to go to a new place. That's the trifecta right there.
Yep.
Okay, so the other flip side of the community education is there are often leagues, bocce ball, cornhole, again, golf, but they do things like gardening groups, or they might have a Saturday morning garden tour. That's all people that like to do the same stuff you do. If you're into gardening, and maybe they start in one neighborhood and they have 3 different local gardeners that have beautiful yards, what a perfect thing to do. Everybody you're going with likes the same stuff you do. It's a very short amount of time. You get to meet somebody new, you learn something.
Yep. That's
Yeah.
great.
Excellent idea.
Okay. Now, when one of you said something about organizing. Didn't you say something about organizing? It's hard to plan. I don't know. My mind works that way. Let's say that you live in a neighborhood and you've got a bestie, that lives next door, but you don't know a lot of the other people in your neighborhood, or you don't see them as much. Minnesota, everybody is out on their porch after dinner.
Mhm.
After work, everybody's sitting out. How about you organize, for lack of a better term, a porch crawl on your block
That
from
would be
5
fun.
to 7 or 6 to 8. Everybody be out at your porch, and whether it's a cocktail or a lemonade or iced coffee or something, just talk to your neighbors. Make it an effort to just, again, you're not having to clean your house.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to put on fancy clothes. You
Yeah,
can
that's a good idea.
do your thing. I think that would be really fun.
Yeah.
A lot of neighborhoods still do the neighborhood night out.
That's on my
yours?
list as well. Yes.
Yeah.
But I just thought, you could do it smaller.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yep.
It shouldn't be just Halloween when you get to knock on neighbors' doors.
Yeah.
Say trick or drink. We can do it in the summer.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Then think about other outdoor places where you can go. And if you go consistently, like Kitty at the coffee shops, you can start to meet people. Farmers market happens every Saturday morning or every Wednesday afternoon. In smaller towns, it's usually in kind of the city center area. What a fun thing to do. You can buy one thing or not. Go get some carrots, go get something for dinner, meet some of the people that live in your community. Ask them, what do you do with this vegetable? What a great conversation piece. Everybody loves to share what they know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yep.
Of course, being the baseball fan, go cheer on one of your town teams. Minnesota has great town ball baseball. It is the last place where it's really a good small town feel. You sit in the grandstand, you buy popcorn, you get a hot dog, you watch your town team play, you see neighbors, there are kids running up and down the stairs. It's just a really lovely, inexpensive night outside.
Yeah.
Kitty, you
So
met a lot of friends when you started doing that, right?
many. Yep. Yep. Absolutely. And it was truly you'd see your neighbors and
Your mechanic and the person that works at the coffee shop and
yep. That also makes me think about, and I was just thinking about this the other day when I drove by the high school. So with our kids not being in high school anymore, we went to a lot of the high school football games for a while. And I
to
was
cheer on the marching band.
right, that was first. And then yeah. And so when I was driving by the school the other day, I thought maybe this fall we'll go to a football game. And I
Yep.
actually, would we really do that? So we don't know anybody. None of our friends have kids in high school right now. Would we do that? We could.
Why not?
Well, yeah.
Good.
Your chances are you're going to see somebody you know.
Doing different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here's a goofy one. For those of you who belong to gyms and clubs, do you go? Like Lifetime Fitness here in Chanhassen has a beautiful outdoor pool.
Mhm.
Okay, so go to the pool, but I've got a tip for you. Don't just sit on the lounge chair under your umbrella reading your book, because that doesn't really say, hey, I want to meet somebody or talk to somebody. Go sit on the edge of the pool. Put your legs in the water. Maybe have your book to the side.
Mm-hmm.
But you're saying to people, I'm here and I'm in this.
Yeah.
Anytime you can take that extra little step, and it's there's a mom that's there chasing a kiddo down, or, those are intergenerational things where you're at an environment where everybody there likes the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not make this more complicated than it has to be.
Right. Yeah. Bo has been a member of Lifetime for years. And every once in a while, if he's out with us at dinner and he'll run into somebody and, the guy will be like, Bo, and, they'll do the dude handshake or, the dude, like that. And we're like, who is that? Oh, it's so-and-so at the gym. We work out together.
Oh,
Cool.
Yeah. So he's got these, specific people that, because they are consistent with the time that they go to the gym.
Yeah.
And so, hey, would you spot me? That's an opening to, yeah, what's your name? You live
Yeah.
around here, yeah.
So I'm gonna put you guys on the spot, and you guys love it when I do this.
yes,
Love
please.
it when Amy goes rogue.
Yep, please.
Stacey and Kitty, can you think of some place in your community locally that does something like this that you could go to? Where in your community would you go if you wanted to just put yourself out there? Now that it's summer.
Listening to all the ideas, I came up with something, but I don't want to tell you what it is on this episode. Not for that. I'm going to do it this week, and I'm going to report back in a month when we have our next one. I don't want to say what it is. And
Okay.
it's kind of going to have to combine a couple of things. I'm going to start with social media and end up at a thing. Okay. But I'm not
Awesome.
going to say what it is. It covers all the bases, putting yourself out there, using social media, meeting with people. And I think it might work. I think I might be able to report some success.
I am very intrigued, you sneaky person, you.
I know, I'm not going to tell you what it is right away.
Stacey with the secret.
Yeah. Let's see how it goes.
Yep. Kitty, what do you think?
Well, we have the beautiful Arboretum right out here.
Oh, love the Arboretum.
And it's always one of those things when the summer rolls around that I think we should really have a membership there so that we go walk or go, because they do all sorts of things out there. I think
that
would be
a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Now that Mr. Bling Boss is retired,
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How much fun. I love the Arboretum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So,
and then do they have different activities? I'm assuming, is that what you're saying? They have planned nights of this or something like that.
Yeah,
that would
they
be
do.
Cool too. Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you for asking that question, Amy. I'm going to put that on our list for this week to pop onto the website and see what they have coming up.
Very cool idea.
Yeah.
Minneapolis, it's art season. It was Art World this weekend. Of course, I couldn't go because I was working, but Stone Art Festival is coming. There is nothing I love more than strolling around and seeing what people do. And you guys, I'm sure you know by now, I talk to everybody. Oh, where'd you get that? What booth was that in? What are you eating? What food truck did you get that from? I just love those occasions to get out, do something different, see something that I like doing. It doesn't cost me a dime unless I buy something, which usually happens, but there's no entry fee. I love stuff like that. It's like a state fair for artists.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna get my fanny up out of bed and go before I have to go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
So
good idea.
Yeah. So things outside to go do. Stacey's got a plan cooking. We're making new friends.
Mm-hmm.
We did have part of our conversation this past week about friends that fall off the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I think that we've tapped into, or we've talked about reconnecting with old friends. We think that certainly is a very viable option. People you already know. Right. What happens when you reach out and you get nothing in return?
That's sad.
Or the people that you rely on in your neighborhood that you would plan the porch crawl with? What if
Mhm.
they up and move, if I could quote somebody?
Uh-huh.
They just upped and moved
I'm not
as
bitter.
if there was no.
Tell us the story, Kitty.
So we've been in this neighborhood since 1999, and there's been a fair amount of turnover. We've been here the whole time. People over here have been here the whole time, but everybody else has come and gone. And we had a family right across the street from us, and Bo and the youngest over there were the same age. And we became fast friends. Doing the outdoor things, in the summer, and then in the depths of winter, we would get together and have coffee and eat toaster strudels in front of the fireplace. I mean, we had
I love a good toaster strudel.
Just really, 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 really good times together. And all of a sudden, they said, we're moving. And I'm going to be real honest, I was pissed.
Not sad, pissed.
How
I shouldn't laugh
dare
about
they?
it, but bless your heart for sharing this. Because
Yeah.
it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, to us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't talk to us about that.
Mhm.
Well, so the good news is now they're moving back. They're moving back
Oh.
here. They've moved back to Eden Prairie. So, and of course we stayed in touch, but we didn't stay in regular touch. We didn't talk
Yeah.
every week like we did when they lived here. And I kind of asked myself the question, well, why not? Because
Mhm.
there's no reason for us to not still have the communication and the closeness that we had before. I think I was mad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, mad because somebody you relied on and loved hanging out with changed the whole pattern,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's out of your control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then there was another family too that was Kitty Corner, and Amy, you might remember them. And
Yep.
so they were husband and wife, and they had one child. And he was, so what was he, maybe 5 years older than Bo? He was old enough that when we needed like a nanny, he became our Manny. And he was just such a good role model for Bo. And it was also during the years that we were having a lot of problems with Bo. We had some rough years. And whenever we did, I would reach out to the mom, Kitty Corner, because she and Bo had a very, very special bond. She could, if he was wound up, she could bring him down. And it was like if everything was imploding here, she could come in and I would leave. She would take de-escalate. Thank you. That's the word. And then same thing. We're moving.
Are you taking Bo with you?
And that one hurt just as bad. I'm like, well, what are we going to do now? Of course I was being very selfish about it, but, and we have kept in touch and we've seen them a few times.
Yeah.
And, the communication is great. I'm grateful for all of the technology that we have. Same thing, like if we didn't have Facebook, we never would have connected with all of our high school friends or our middle school. Right?
Yes. Yep. I was thinking about when Trisha left, when Trisha moved.
Mm-hmm.
I was not happy about that.
Yeah.
She and I, because of proximity, and we both stayed at home with our kids. And through the 7 years, I think that she lived here in Minnesota, one of the two of us was pregnant the entire time. And it was just, she was that other mom that totally knew what I was going through. And she was that other set of hands. It was like, okay, you take both babies while I go do this, and then I'll be back and take both babies, and you go do that. And it was this tag team effort. Plus, she is hilarious and a lot of fun. And she just, it was hard when she moved. As she would say, bless her heart, she is really one of those people that we can talk to occasionally. We share stuff on Facebook, and then most of the time she comes up here to visit all of us, and it's like she never left.
Yep.
And that's a really good friend.
Yeah, it is.
But that was a hard one when they leave.
Yeah, it is.
And you're right. We are at that. You talked about being in your neighborhood for such a long time. I think many of us are in that stage of life where people might be retiring. They may now be choosing to move where their children are. I think that we're at the start of seeing a lot more people move.
Yeah. At least spend the winter, somewhere else.
Perhaps, yeah, maybe retire, have a winter snowbird escape.
Yeah.
So we are going to have to double down on our efforts to stay in touch, whether it's technology, whether it's the old-fashioned calling somebody and actually talking to them, using the phone for its original purpose.
I know we don't do that very often, but we need to.
Yeah. So, all right. So do we have the makings of a plan? Stacey's got one already cooked up that she's not letting us in on.
Nope, I have a plan. I think it's a good plan. I hope it works. We'll see.
All right. So Kitty's going to check out the Arboretum.
Yep.
I'm going to start to get out and walk more. Get out, and even if it's walking to dinner. But down here, that's also a great socialize place.
Yeah. Right.
I have it sounds bad that I have a local bar, but it's actually a bar restaurant that I have been going to since the day I moved in, where Kitty and I went and had dinner. And I've taken some dates there just because it's super casual. And I kind of know where I'm going, and I walk and I sit down, and the bartender's like, "Oh, hey, so nice to see you." And the people I'm with look at me like, "Whoa,
yeah, you must come here a lot."
Yeah, you must come here all the time. But it is one of the advantages of having a spot, having your spot. You develop, connections, and you can talk about certain things, and it's a nice feel, and it's the opening to meeting somebody else.
That's right.
All right. So we're all going to take a shot at trying something new this month, which is always our shot. Do we have other shots?
I don't have one.
I do.
Okay.
Good. Tell us.
Okay. So one of our recent episodes was the Oscars, watching Oscar movies. And I was a very poor participant at that time, having not watched very many. But I watched Anora last night, and I want everybody to give it a shot. It was, I somehow anticipated that it was going to be this horrible, graphic, really ultra sad. And I found it to be a little bit lighter than that. Yeah, the story, it's not a good situation for her, but a lot of it was really kind of funny, and they were having fun. I think people should give it a shot. Of course, I will abide by the caveat in the privacy of your own home.
Yeah.
With, because there's a lot of boobage that you see.
Yeah.
But the story, and I really did like the ending, the very, very ending. I thought that was kind of good. So I would say I still don't know that it's Oscar worthy.
Right. So worth watching.
Worth watching.
I think we all agree it shouldn't have won the Oscar.
Yeah.
Well, she won, but it didn't win for best film, did it?
Mm-hmm.
It did? I thought it was just her.
No, it won best film, and she won for best actress, and that's the thing that's like.
I have seen her in some different stuff, and every time I see her, she is a really good actress.
What else
She
is
takes
she
on.
in?
I think her filmography, to use your term, is quite extensive in a lot of different things. She's been acting for a long time. She's not this ingenue upstart. She's
Okay.
got she was in, well, I think I used it as a shot months ago, was that that series, Better Things.
Better Things, yeah.
She's the oldest daughter in that.
Okay.
Totally different personality than in this one.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey Madsen, I think is her name.
Right.
And I really didn't recognize anybody else in that cast.
No.
Mhm.
I didn't either.
Yep.
Yeah. So that's my shot. Give it a shot, people.
Give it a shot. There you go.
Give it a shot.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Well, on that note, I say let the friendship games continue.
Right.
Yes.
And we will report back in a month our progress.
Report back.
Like we have been doing. Yes.
Oh, hey, speaking of friendship, we were gonna talk about this. In an upcoming episode, we are going to rewatch and talk about a rewatch show. See if it still holds up. And so the one that we kind of decided, the three of us were going to do, is watching the 4 seasons.
4 seasons.
4
Right.
seasons. It's out right now as a series, but it is based off a movie from the 70s. So
No, 1981.
81.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay,
Okay.
81. That's close to the
1981.
70s.
It's
1981.
If I didn't know because of the streaming service that told me it was 1981, I'd have guessed it was a lot earlier than that too. But it's 1981. Yep, and the remake now is more of a series. I think 6 or 8 parts or whatever.
I think it's an 8-part
Fey.
series.
Yeah, Tina Fey and I don't know who else. I can't remember now. Oh,
Yep.
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell, Tina Fey,
Yeah.
Will Forte.
Right.
Um,
The old version, 1981 version, is Alan Alda,
Rena
Carol
Moreno.
Burnett, Sandy Dennis.
Is that on Netflix or Amazon?
It's
Okay.
on Netflix right now, so
Yeah.
you can catch the old one. Yeah.
Yep. So
Perfect.
everybody, do a little homework
Mm-hmm.
from the comfort of your own home again.
Right.
Watch 4 seasons, the series that's live, that's streaming, and watch the 4 seasons original movie.
Yeah.
And then let's discuss.
Yes. All about friendship again.
All about friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
It's good. All right,
Good.
people. We better get on it. We've got a lot to do in the next.
A lot to
You
do.
know,
Yes,
a lot to do. All right.
we do.
Love you guys.
Love you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
See you next
Peace
week.
out.
Peace out.
Bye-bye.
All right. Woo. Look. I got that wow. Who wants some hands up right now? We got that. Turn it up loud. I know you're wondering how. I got that wow. Here I go, coming. I can't ever stop. I'm a tour de force running. Get me to the top. I don't need an invitation. I'm about to start a celebration. Let me in. Brought a good time plus some friends. Turn it up loud past 10.